What if everything you thought you knew about the royal family in Hollywood was a lie?
Imagine a world where fame is just a facade.
And behind the glittering lights and royal titles lies a far darker truth.
What if I told you that the story you've been fed about Meghan Markle's return to Hollywood isn't the whole picture?
You've heard the headlines. You've seen the gossip. But what's really happening behind closed doors?
What if there's something much deeper? Something being kept hidden from the public eye?
This isn't just a tale of a former royal trying to make a comeback. It's about an industry that thrives on power, manipulation,
And secrets.
and a woman caught in the middle of it all. Meghan Markle, once at the center of global attention, now struggles to reclaim her place in Hollywood. But what if her struggle goes far beyond mere acting skills? What if there's a hidden force,
Quietly orchestrating her fall from grace?
Stick with me as we uncover what the media won't tell you,
Expose what's been kept in the shadows,
and finally answer the question, who really controls the fate of stars like Meghan Markle? Keep watching, because what you're about to discover might just change everything you think you know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next. What if Meghan Markle's attempt to return to Hollywood isn't just about her acting skills, or lack thereof? Have you ever wondered why such a well-known figure, once the darling of the media, is now struggling so hard to reclaim her place in Hollywood? It's as if the very doors she used to walk through have slammed shut. But why? And who exactly is closing them? Is it her lack of talent? Or something far more sinister at play?
Let's break this down together.
Piece by piece, and start asking the questions that the media refuses to touch. Meghan Markle, after leaving the royal family, has made several bold attempts to reinvent herself. She tried to pivot from acting to media mogul with big deals like Netflix and Spotify. But let's be honest, has she really succeeded in redefining herself? The answer seems to be a loud no. Despite her royal ties, her ventures have fallen flat, leading us to ask, what exactly is Meghan trying to prove? Now, here's where it gets interesting. Meghan's recent attempt to land a role in Captain America, Brave New World, a project that has the world's eyes on it, was met with brutal rejection. You may have heard the director, Julius Ona, publicly slam her request, calling it impossible due to her lack of talent. This isn't just a snub. It's a clear message from the entertainment world that fame alone doesn't cut it. But here's the real question. Why does Meghan think she can walk into a major blockbuster movie like it's a given? Is she really that disconnected from the industry? Let's dig deeper. Hollywood isn't a place where you get in simply because you've made headlines or married a prince. In fact, the entertainment world is ruthless, and history shows that it chews up and spits out those who don't measure up. Take a look at past stars, those who were once in the limelight but found themselves out in the cold when the public stopped caring. Remember when Lindsay Lohan tried to return to Hollywood after her personal struggles? Or when Charlie Sheen's public meltdowns led to him being blacklisted? Hollywood does not forget, and it definitely doesn't forgive. So, what does this mean for Meghan? For all her fame, she's never shown the acting chops required for a franchise as massive as Marvel. Let's face it, Suits was a hit, but it was a TV show, not a superhero blockbuster. Meghan's career, as it stands, is a fragile glass slipper, and Hollywood? Well, Hollywood's slipper only fits those who have earned their place through years of hard work and undeniable talent. But here's where it gets truly juicy. What if there's something else going on here? What if her failed attempt at joining Marvel isn't just about her lack of talent, but something more dangerous? Could Meghan's continued failures be orchestrated by forces behind the scenes? Forces that want to keep her out of the limelight for good? Why does Hollywood seem to have shut her out so aggressively? Is this a case of her stepping on the wrong toes? Or is she being punished for something far bigger? As we near the end of this exploration, think about one thing. The real kicker here is not the rejection itself, but how it was handled. Julius Ona didn't just reject her. He made sure the world knew why. Public humiliation. A slap in the face that tells us everything we need to know about Meghan Markle's place in Hollywood today. But what does this mean for her future? If a name as powerful as Meghan Markle can't get a second chance, what chance do any of us have? Now, let's dive deeper into the shadows of Meghan Markle's Hollywood failure, because what you've been told so far is only half the story. You've seen the headlines. You've heard the whispers.
But let's be honest, there's something darker lurking beneath the surface.
Meghan Markle's attempt to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe wasn't just about acting or lack thereof. It's part of a much larger picture. But why did she think she could waltz into the industry with nothing more than a title? And what really happened behind the closed doors of Hollywood's elite? Hollywood isn't about simply being famous. Sure, it might give you a foot in the door, but it won't keep you there. Just ask stars like Lindsay Lohan or Charlie Sheen, who were once at the top but found themselves buried under the weight of their own personal dramas and public failings. Fame doesn't guarantee success. In fact, it can often work against you. Just ask anyone who's tried to use their name to get into a major project without putting in the necessary work. So, what about Meghan Markle? What made her think that her royal fame could erase the glaring gap in her acting resume? Here's where things get interesting. Meghan's decision to pursue a role in Captain America, Brave New World isn't just a simple career move, it's a statement. A statement that says, I've been a royal, and I should be able to walk into Hollywood as if it owes me something. But here's the harsh truth. Hollywood doesn't work that way. Marvel's casting process isn't a popularity contest. The studio doesn't pick actors based on how many Instagram followers they have or what their royal connections might be. It's about talent, dedication, hard work. You know, things Meghan didn't bother to prove before she left for her royal life. And let's take a look at the evidence. Before her marriage to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle was struggling to carve out a legitimate acting career. Her role in Suits was decent, but it wasn't enough to catapult her into major Hollywood films. Sure, she had a role in a few small films, but nothing that showcased her as a major talent in the industry. And then, suddenly, she gets a pass into the royal family and disappears from Hollywood's radar. Now, she expects to come back in and seamlessly fit into a $200 million blockbuster film like she's some kind of A-list actress? If anything, it reeks of overconfidence, perhaps even a little delusion. So, why is she still trying to force her way back into the industry, despite all the evidence pointing to her lack of preparation and skill? Maybe it's desperation. Maybe it's the need to prove that her royal title can still open doors. Or perhaps, just perhaps, it's something more. Could Meghan be deliberately ignoring the very real standards of the industry, believing her fame alone could guarantee her success? The more you dig, the more you start to wonder, is this a case of misplaced arrogance? Or is there something else lurking in the background? But don't be fooled. This isn't just about a failed audition. It's a sign of something far deeper, something that Meghan might not even be aware of yet. In the world of Hollywood, you either sink or swim based on your talent, and the cold reality is, Meghan has never had the staying power to swim with the sharks. And here's the kicker. When it comes to her husband, Harry, the picture gets even murkier. Harry's silence in this entire situation speaks volumes. Perhaps he's finally realizing that his wife's public stumbles are doing more harm than good. Could it be that he's starting to understand that maybe, just maybe, their celebrity status isn't enough to protect them in this ruthless industry? But before we jump to conclusions, let's hold off on that for a second. The real question is, what's Meghan going to do next? Can she salvage her Hollywood dreams? Or is she doomed to remain the forgotten princess of the entertainment world? Stick around because the next part will unravel even more of this tangled web. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now that we've established Meghan Markle's failure to break into the world of Hollywood, it's time to examine the darker, more uncomfortable reality of the situation. What if Meghan's struggles aren't just due to a lack of acting talent, but because she has misunderstood the very nature of the industry she's trying to re-enter? Could it be that her public image, once a beacon of hope for a new, modern royal family, is now working against her? Let's take a closer look at the evidence. Meghan's rise to fame was never about her acting ability. Yes, Suits was a popular show, but her role was secondary. She wasn't the star. And while she's often portrayed as an underdog in Hollywood, her time there before joining the royal family was far from remarkable. In fact, her IMDb credits tell a different story. A handful of minor roles in movies that, frankly, didn't move the needle in the entertainment world. She wasn't a household name in Hollywood before marrying Prince Harry. But once she stepped into the royal spotlight, things changed dramatically. Suddenly, Meghan became a symbol, one that drew media attention around the globe. This fame was no longer about acting. It was about her role in the monarchy. But here's where things start to get interesting. After stepping away from her royal duties, Meghan needed a new path. She was no longer a princess, no longer the focal point of royal events. So she pivoted, seeking to build a media empire. But what happens when the content she produces fails to meet expectations? We've all seen how the couple's Netflix and Spotify deals, while lucrative, haven't exactly set the world on fire. In fact, many of their projects have been widely criticized as underwhelming. So, could it be that Meghan miscalculated when she decided to dive back into Hollywood, believing her royal fame would be enough to land her the roles she craved? Let's dig deeper into this point. Hollywood is a ruthless place, one where talent isn't just a suggestion, it's a requirement. And Meghan's attempt to bypass this with her fame is a classic case of Hollywood arrogance. Take a look at Robert Downey Jr., for instance. He wasn't a household name when he was cast in Iron Man, but what he had was undeniable talent, an ability to captivate audiences with his acting and charisma. He earned his place. So why didn't Meghan? Why didn't her royal status, which seemed to open so many doors in other areas, give her the same result in Hollywood? The answer is simple. Hollywood doesn't work on favor or fame alone. It demands raw skill, dedication, and versatility. Meghan's resume, unfortunately, didn't meet those criteria. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. As Meghan's career has faltered, one thing has become increasingly clear. Her public image as the Duchess of Sussex may be doing more harm than good. Her royal status might have once opened doors, but now it's a weight around her neck. The public perception of Meghan has shifted over time. Once seen as a symbol of modernity and change, she is now often viewed with skepticism and even disdain. Every move she makes is dissected under a microscope, with many questioning her motives. Is she simply trying to remain relevant in an industry that has no patience for celebrity status alone? This brings us to the final, chilling realization. Meghan's rejection from Captain America. Brave New World isn't just a rejection from Hollywood. It's a rejection from a world that once seemed to welcome her. And when you consider the sheer scale of her failure, you have to ask, is this the beginning of the end for her Hollywood ambitions? But before we move on to the explosive conclusion, here's the twist. Remember her husband, Prince Harry? His silence on this matter speaks volumes. Could it be that Harry, once the knight in shining armor for Meghan, is finally seeing the writing on the wall? Maybe he's beginning to realize that no matter how much he defends her, it can't protect her from the harsh realities of Hollywood. Now that we've delved deep into Meghan Markle's attempts to re-enter Hollywood, it's time to ask a critical question. What are the real implications of her repeated failures? How does this affect her standing in both the entertainment industry and the royal family? Let's continue exploring this puzzle. You may have noticed something critical. Despite her royal fame and her undeniable efforts to carve out a new path for herself, the doors of Hollywood continue to remain closed to Meghan. She's been dismissed by directors and criticized for her lack of depth as an actress. And now, her attempts to land a role in one of the biggest franchises in cinema history have ended in public rejection. But what if this isn't just about her acting skills? Could there be something more at play? Something far more dangerous? Consider this. The world of Hollywood is fiercely competitive. It's a merit-based industry, one that doesn't welcome people simply because of their name. The industry rewards actors who put in the hard work and consistently demonstrate versatility and skill. Look at actors like Chris Hemsworth, who was virtually unknown when he was cast as Thor, yet earned his place with years of dedication and commitment. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't the golden child of Hollywood either, but his raw talent and ability to transform himself led him to become one of the highest-paid actors in history. Meghan Markle, however, has shown none of this dedication. Instead, she's tried to use her fame to bypass the process that every other actor must endure. But here's where things get even murkier. What if Meghan's repeated failures in Hollywood are not just a reflection of her lack of talent, but also a sign that the entertainment industry is rejecting her as a persona? Think about it. Meghan's transition from a royal life to a media mogul wasn't seamless. Her media ventures have been lackluster at best. Netflix and Spotify deals that were meant to elevate her status as a public figure have barely made an impact. Is the media beginning to see through the illusion of Meghan's fame? It's one thing to be a household name because of your connections, but another to maintain that fame without tangible results. And here's the kicker. Could Meghan be doing this to herself? After all, no one can blame Hollywood for rejecting her when her resume doesn't stack up. But could it be that Meghan's very public push to re-enter the limelight is playing into the hands of those who want her to fail? The fact that her royal background, which should be her strength, is now becoming her Achilles heel is something no one could have predicted. This brings us to a chilling question. Is there a deeper force at work here? Could it be that Hollywood, which thrives on drama and scandal, is playing Meghan's failures for maximum effect? Or is Meghan herself becoming a victim of the very media machine that once helped her rise to prominence? But before we move on, let's not forget one more detail that's hard to ignore. Prince Harry's silence. He's been Meghan's biggest supporter in the past, but what's his role now as her Hollywood dreams crumble? Has he finally realized that his wife's royal fame isn't enough to open doors in Hollywood? Could this be the moment when Harry starts to distance himself from the mess that is Meghan's post-royal career? Or perhaps, just maybe, he's starting to realize that the very thing that gave him his fame, the royal family, might now be the thing that drags them both down. As we near the conclusion, we can't ignore one last shocking detail. It's not just Meghan who is in the crosshairs here. The way she's been shut out of Hollywood might not only expose her, but it could also end up being the final nail in the coffin for the couple's public image. Stay tuned, because the truth is far from over, and the next revelation could be a game changer. So, what does all of this mean for Meghan Markle? Has her Hollywood dream really come to an end? Or is this just another bump in the road? We've seen the brutal reality of her rejection from Marvel, the shaky foundation of her media empire, and the growing tension between her public persona and the industry's hard-nosed standards. But are we really witnessing the downfall of a former royal? Or is this just the beginning of a much bigger story that we're still trying to understand? The key question now is, what's next for Meghan and Harry? Could this public rejection be the wake-up call they need to reevaluate their strategy? Or will they continue to try and force their way into industries that no longer have room for them? Is the public's growing skepticism just a reflection of their own mistakes? Or is it a result of a much deeper narrative being pushed by forces beyond their control? The truth is, this story is far from over. Meghan's Hollywood rejection, her failed media ventures, and the public's shifting perception are all pieces of a much larger puzzle. What happens next? Will she be able to pivot once again and reinvent herself? Or will Hollywood and the media continue to reject her efforts, leaving her with nowhere to turn? We'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Do you think Meghan Markle's failed comeback is a sign that Hollywood is done with her? Or could there be more twists and turns to her journey? Drop your comments below and let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay up to date on the latest developments. This is a story that's still unfolding, and you won't want to miss what comes next.